Okay, Casey Lange is our second speaker. Casey came to Columbus Academy in kindergarten, and she lives in Gahanna. Casey.
You know those stickers? The ones usually on the back of minivans? I'm sure you do, with the mom, the dad, Johnny and Susie, and Spot, the dog. Whether you think they're kind of cute or really creepy, you have to admit they say a lot about how we picture family. The back of my family's car has never featured cartoon versions of each of us. I mean, people would be really confused. Why are there those 3 chicks on the back of that PT Cruiser? The answer? My moms. I have 2. No dad, just 2 moms. One I call Kima, which means spirit mother. Kima is the non-biological mom, the proverbial other mother. The one I call mom is my mother by blood. Let's try this out. My parents are lesbians. Now stop. Did that word just make you uncomfortable? Or even if it didn't, did visions of severe, scary motorcycle girls or lesbians that look like Justin Bieber pop into your head? Either way, we've got a problem because my parents, they just look like moms. You would never pass my mom in the street and think to yourself, well, it seems to me that I have just passed a lesbian. No, you wouldn't. So it's different, but it's not that different. But no matter how normal I may see it, I know it makes people uncomfortable. I've seen it in people's faces, heard it in their voices. Even if you're completely pro-gay marriage, pro-gay rights, pro-everything, it's difficult to relate unless it directly affects your life. In theory, it's easy to be comfortable with gays and lesbians, but in practice, it challenges a lot of the assumptions we didn't know we had. But it's much harder to be intolerant if a gay person is someone you know, like a friend, a teacher, or in my case, your parents. I also know I can't change everyone's mind, and that's not what I'm trying to do. No matter how much I believe my parents deserve the same rights as any other married couple, all I can do is show you, to the best of my ability, that we're a family as loving as any. Of course, then, there is the question of, how exactly, Casey, are you standing on that stage if you don't have a dad? It's the same question I was asked so often as a kid that I had such a problem answering. I really don't have a dad. He's a donor. He lives in California, he's 6 feet tall, and has blonde hair. But my dad ends there. I don't know any more about him. He's not my dad, he's just my biological father, and he'll never be a parent to me the way my Kima has. I mean, of course I'm curious about the guy. He's a part of my DNA, but that's what he is, a source of DNA, not a parent. I used to get jealous when kids would talk about their dads, feeling like I was missing out on something great, like maybe a part of my life wasn't complete. But now I realize how great it's been just to have 2 parents who love each other. It didn't matter whether I had a mom and a dad or a mom and a Kima. So yeah, having same-sex parents, even in today's society, is a big oddity. But that's okay. I'm okay with not having a dad. Because instead, I have 2 moms. I mean, how awesome is that? I get 2 notes in my paper lunch bag. I feel really good about the progress I've made in accepting my family as it is. It would be really great to say, I've always felt as comfortable as I do today. But sometimes, when I was a kid, I really didn't think it was that okay. I wouldn't know what to say when people asked questions, or how to handle it when people brought up the subject of my parents. In kindergarten, no one ever second-guessed the fact that I had 2 moms. Either they didn't know what it meant, or didn't question it because they were kindergartners. The kids in KB didn't see people as gay or straight, they just saw people. 2nd grade was when everyone started to grow out of that kindergarten kindness. That's when kids started to have a better sense of what normal was, and understanding that my family wasn't like theirs. People would ask, how do you not have a dad? And I wouldn't know how to answer, seeing as most 2nd graders wouldn't be very receptive to, oh, he's just a sperm donor, guys, no big deal. So, some ask me endless questions, others seem to accept my family without missing a beat, and still others seem to not notice that anything was that different at all. Before I started writing this speech, a lot of my friends actually asked me stuff like, "Are you doing the obvious thing?" Or, "Why are you writing about your parents? I mean, it's just your parents." Though I acted like I was annoyed at the time, that's a really good sign. It shows that some people have accepted it as just another trait of mine, not something that I have to hide or be worried about. Though my friends may think it's normal, meeting new people is a completely different story. I still tend to hesitate when people I'm just meeting bring up the topic of their parents. I have no way of knowing if I casually reference the fact that I have two moms, whether they will accept it willingly or if they'll get weirded out and just stop talking to me. So sometimes I don't. I went to a leadership conference in Washington, D.C. when I was 11. I'd become friends with kids from all over, and I thought I really knew them, even though we'd been together for only a few short days. Then, in one of our discussion groups, we landed on the topic of gay rights. Clay, a guy I thought to be one of the most accepting, open people at the entire conference, said he couldn't ever see himself being okay with gay people, and that if his own son was gay, he would never talk to him again. The advisor for the group had left to get something, so the conversation quickly spiraled into chaos, with most of the people in the room agreeing with Clay. The environment I'd felt so comfortable in, so happy in, had become a mess of toxicity. The people who had previously been so welcoming to me would never be willing to come to terms with the things most vital to my existence, my family. So I lied. I said I had a mom, a dad, I was an only child. I made up a backstory. Casey, what does your dad do? He's a therapist. My mom is a psychologist. They're actually in practice together. That's cute. Felt terrible to lie. To say my chemo was my dad. To not be brave enough to tell these kids the truth. To put on a facade. But I was afraid of what they would say if they knew who my parents really were. If they knew they weren't normal. Normalcy to me as a kid was tie-dyed t-shirts, African drums, meditation, essential oils, two moms. Packed lunches with notes inside, rec soccer games, going to the pool in the summer, loving parents. I had a normal life infused with some pretty different stuff, but none of that seemed that different to me until other people pointed it out. My parents never seemed that different to me until other people pointed it out. I never thought of my childhood as being all that different because my parents made sure I was surrounded by people who didn't think it was. We go to the Pride Parade every year and march in it. At 4 years old, when I was too young to walk the whole time, we had staked out a spot on the sidewalk with a prime view of the street. As the floats passed by, I'm told that I pointed and said, or rather screamed, "Mama, that is a very stylish lady." I was pointing at one of the drag queens. Though the Pride Parade brings lots of fun and rainbow colors, there's also one part that always terrifies me: the gay bashers. Every year, there they are. They've come back again to tell us that we're being sinful. They carry their signs, and usually there's some terrific fun with megaphones. One year, a woman holding an enormous poster with a cheerful "God hates you" on it told me to my face that I was the product of sin. I don't understand what is sinful about love. I'm the product of love. My parents would always say, "Fight their hate with love," and would proudly hold up our hands in the love symbol and smile at them while they stared back, always with slightly stunned expressions. We've never taken a confrontational attitude. We didn't yell back at the gay bashers. I usually just let it roll off when people say ignorant things like, "I think gay people are people too, I just don't agree with their lifestyle." But, I mean, that's a lot of ignorant for one statement. They're people too? Was it ever a question whether 10% of the human population was human? Lifestyle? It's not a choice. I think I'll try being gay today. Sounds like a cool time to be oppressed. So yeah, there's a little bit of anger mixed into this too. My parents have been together for 31 years, but they get none of the benefits that Britney Spears' first husband of all of, 9 minutes was granted? When I was a kid, if my mom had somehow died, my Kima could have been denied custody of me. It's upsetting, but I really can't go around telling people off all the time. That would be no way to live, and I don't think other people would like it very much either. So that's certainly not my message today. What really matters is not whether people think my family is normal or not, or whether I can change people's minds by pleading my case. It's whether I'm happy with my family. So to me, the circumstances I was brought up in aren't really so different at all. To me, my parents, my mom and Kima, are the most normal, frustrating, patient, amazing people, not because they're different, but because, well, they're my family. Thank you.